Dolton, Illinois' political unrest has captivated local and national attention, with Mayor Tiffany Henyard at the center of a growing storm of controversy. Known for her combative leadership style, Henyard has become a figurehead for numerous court cases, dubious rulings, and scandals that have severely damaged her reputation. Her defiance of legal scrutiny and public opinion has earned her the nickname Super Mayor Dolton, a moniker that reflects her seemingly unshakable ability to dodge legal consequences and withstand public outrage. However, as tensions escalate, many wonder whether Henyard's defiance signals a strong leader who stands her ground or a politician who blatantly disregards the rule of law for personal and political gain. The latest scandal involves her controversial appointment of Ronald Burge as interim police chief. Even though Burge's Illinois law enforcement training and standards board certification had expired, making him legally unqualified to carry a firearm. What initially seemed like a routine administrative decision spiraled into a legal nightmare when concerns about Burge's qualifications emerged. Despite numerous warnings from both the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board and Dolton's town trustees, Henyard pushed forward with the appointment, leading to legal action. Alarmed by the appointment, the trustees requested a restraining order to prevent Burge from assuming the role of interim police chief. The judge initially ruled in favor of the trustees, but after a heated board meeting, the decision was overturned, allowing Burge to serve for 30 days as interim chief. However, this reprieve did little to quell the growing tension. The trustees, supported by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standard Board, continue to argue that Burge should not be allowed to serve due to his expired certification. The controversy surrounding the appointment raised serious questions about Henyard's judgment, with critics accusing her of prioritizing political loyalty over the safety and well-being of Dolton's residents and potentially undermining the legitimacy of the town's police force. Since taking office in 2021, Henyard has been at the center of numerous legal disputes, questionable appointments, and personal scandals that have severely damaged her standing in the community. One of the most significant criticisms of her leadership is her lavish spending habits. Reports highlight her extravagant vacations, lavish dinners, and even a Valentine's Day celebration, complete with a private DJ and selfies. These indulgences have only fueled accusations that Henyard is out of touch with the financial realities of her office and has a blatant disregard for Dolton's financial stability. In a time when many local governments are struggling to balance budgets and address pressing community needs, Henyard's excesses have raised alarms about her priorities and leadership. Critics argue that her actions suggest a deeper concern for her image and comfort rather than the well-being of the town she governs. Compounding the controversy surrounding Henyard's leadership are her questionable appointments, many of which involve individuals with suspect backgrounds placed in key positions of power. Critics argue that Henyard's focus has been more on consolidating power within her inner circle than on ensuring that Dolton's government operates efficiently, transparently, and in compliance with the law. Her actions have raised serious concerns about her ability to lead effectively, with many questioning whether her leadership is driven more by political loyalty and personal ambition than by a genuine desire to serve the best interests of Dolton's residents. These concerns are particularly alarming given the significant role the mayor plays in shaping the town's policies, priorities, and public perception. Henyard's controversial decisions and leadership style have left many wondering whether her time in office has irreparably damaged the community's trust in its government. Despite mounting criticism, Henyard has remained steadfast in her defiance, repeatedly defending her controversial decisions and refusing to back down even as public sentiment increasingly shifts against her. Some of her supporters continue to rally behind her, citing her determination to stand up to critics and navigate the challenges of local government. However, this support appears to be waning as more and more residents begin to question whether Henyard's style of leadership is conducive to a stable and thriving community. The ongoing scandals, legal battles, and Henyard's apparent disregard for Dolton's financial and ethical well-being have cast a long shadow over her tenure. Many are left to wonder whether the damage done to the town's reputation and the erosion of public trust will be too much for Henyard to overcome. Mayor Tiffany Henyard's defiance in the face of mounting criticism has become a defining characteristic of her leadership. But while some view it as a sign of resolve, many others see it as a sign of weakness. Deepening the mistrust surrounding her ability to lead the situation took a more personal turn when Henyard became embroiled in a high-profile eviction lawsuit, which further added to her controversial public image. In this case, Henyard and her partner, Kamal Woods, were accused of evading the legal process after allegedly changing the locks on a rental property they were leasing from a former friend, preventing the landlord from entering the property for necessary maintenance. This legal drama only served to fuel the negative attention surrounding Henyard, further eroding public confidence in her ability to govern. Critics argue that Henyard's personal and professional issues have become increasingly intertwined, leading many Dolton residents to question whether someone who struggles to manage their own finances and legal responsibilities can effectively lead the town. As the scandals continue to mount, the local government in Dolton has become mired in dysfunction and uncertainty. Henyard's refusal to yield to public pressure or legal challenges has deepened the divide, making her leadership style appear more focused on personal power than on addressing the needs of the community. Her decisions, from controversial appointments to lavish spending and legal battles, have created a toxic environment in the town's government, with little sign of reconciliation or reform. Despite the controversies, Henyard has remained defiant, asserting that her decision to run for a second term is driven by her commitment to reform. However, widespread skepticism surrounds her campaign. What was once seen as a bold move to shake up the local government is now viewed by many as a failed experiment marked by legal battles, dubious decisions, and a string of scandals that have severely tarnished her reputation. As her approval ratings continue to plummet, the central question remains: can Henyard retain enough support to win another term? Her defiant stance has made her a deeply polarizing figure, with some viewing her resistance to public pressure as a sign of tenacity, while others believe it is an indication that she is more concerned with retaining power than actually meeting the needs of Dolton's residents. In the end, Henyard's tenure has left many questioning whether her leadership, once hailed as a necessary disruption to the political establishment, is now a source of division and dysfunction. As her second-term campaign gains momentum, the question looms: can she overcome the erosion of public trust and repair the damage done to Dolton's reputation? Or is her time in office destined to be remembered as a period of controversy, scandal, and missed opportunity? As Mayor Tiffany Henyard's second-term campaign intensifies, she faces mounting opposition from both within her administration and from the public, who have grown weary of the chaos and uncertainty her leadership has brought. The increasing scandals, legal troubles, and ongoing decline in her approval ratings have cast a dark shadow over her political future, with many Dolton residents beginning to question how much longer they can tolerate the political turmoil and dysfunction her leadership has caused. Whether Henyard's defiance will be enough to carry her through the upcoming election remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: her tenure in office has become increasingly unstable. Her refusal to back down in the face of legal challenges and public outrage has made her leadership appear more erratic and self-serving, leaving many to question her capacity to lead effectively. The central question now is whether her defiant stance will ultimately lead to her downfall, or whether she can somehow retain power despite the growing opposition and mounting scandals. The road ahead for Henyard is filled with obstacles, and as her re-election campaign approaches, it remains uncertain whether she will be able to navigate the tumultuous times ahead. Many Dolton residents are questioning whether she possesses the political acumen, the will, or the public support necessary to hold onto her position of authority. With the future of the town at stake, Henyard's leadership has become increasingly mired by a growing list of scandals and legal issues that have severely tarnished her reputation. Public discontent has reached a boiling point, and the mounting pressure from both her personal and professional troubles has placed her political future in jeopardy. It remains to be seen whether Henyard can overcome these mounting challenges to secure another term, or if her leadership will be remembered as a period marked by turmoil and disillusionment. As Dolton residents anxiously await the outcome of her second-term campaign, they are left wondering whether Henyard can weather the storm, or if her time in office will be seen as a failed experiment in leadership that failed to deliver on the promises of change. And reform, Henyard's leadership has been increasingly defined by a series of controversies and personal legal battles. In addition to the growing public frustration surrounding her decisions, Henyard is currently entangled in a personal legal battle with her landlord, a former friend named Jeanette Ed, over unpaid rent dating back to August. Ed claims that Henyard and her partner, Kamal Woods, have been unresponsive to eviction notices and, in an attempt to avoid necessary maintenance, allegedly changed the locks on their rental property. This latest dispute has only added fuel to Henyard's already fragile reputation, feeding into perceptions that she is out of touch with the realities of Dolton citizens. Critics argue that Henyard's actions demonstrate a disregard for the law and a tendency to prioritize her interests over the well-being of the community, creating a narrative that she feels above accountability. At the same time, Henyard's leadership has been plagued by a series of questionable decisions, including contentious appointments and actions that seem to bend the rules of governance. These actions have only contributed to the mounting public frustration. As her personal and professional issues continue to spiral out of control, scrutiny surrounding her leadership has only intensified, and Dolton residents are growing increasingly concerned about how their tax dollars are being spent under her administration. The controversy surrounding Henyard has taken a darker turn, with reports that the FBI is now investigating her for alleged financial misconduct, particularly concerning her role as supervisor of Ford Township. Federal authorities have reportedly subpoenaed documents regarding the misappropriation of public funds, including questionable government contracts, extravagant personal spending, and lavish events that appear more suited for private citizens than public officials. These revelations have further heightened concerns about Henyard's ability to manage taxpayer money and fulfill her duties as mayor, further eroding the public's trust in her leadership. The growing pressure has left Henyard at a crossroads, with many Dolton residents uncertain whether she can turn things around and win back their trust, or if the time has come for a change in leadership as each new controversy adds to the growing list of scandals surrounding her. The likelihood that Henyard will retain power appears to be diminishing, and public dissatisfaction has reached a tipping point. Many Dolton residents are now wondering whether her defiant stance, characterized by her refusal to back down in the face of legal challenges and public outrage, will be enough to overcome the damage done to both her reputation and the town of Dolton itself. As her re-election campaign looms, Henyard faces mounting opposition, and the question of whether she can secure a second term has become more uncertain with each passing day. Her tenure in office has been plagued by numerous scandals, personal conflicts, and controversial decisions, all of which have undermined her credibility and authority as Dolton braces for the upcoming election. Residents are left wondering if Henyard can overcome the political, legal, and personal turmoil she has created, or if the time has come for a change in leadership that will restore stability and trust of the town. The growing pressure, combined with escalating public discontent, has left Dolton's future hanging in the balance, with the outcome of Henyard's re-election campaign likely to determine the fate of the town's leadership for years to come. The political future of Mayor Tiffany Henyard appears increasingly uncertain as the town of Dolton faces a dire situation marked by financial instability, a tarnished reputation, and a deepening sense of dissatisfaction with her leadership. The mounting anger over what many perceive as reckless mismanagement of public funds has reached a boiling point, and Dolton's residents are growing increasingly weary of Henyard's inability to address the concerns that threaten the town's future. With each passing day, the town finds itself at a critical crossroads where the political fate of Henyard and the direction of Dolton's leadership are both in jeopardy. The stakes have never been higher. As public scrutiny continues to mount, it remains to be seen whether Henyard will be able to navigate the tumultuous road ahead, or the growing disillusionment with her leadership will ultimately lead to a change in the town's political landscape. Residents of Dolton, Illinois are left questioning whether Mayor Tiffany Henyard can regain control and restore their faith in her leadership, or if her mounting legal battles, personal issues, and growing public disillusionment will ultimately lead to her downfall. The town is currently grappling with a significant budget deficit, which has only worsened the public perception of Henyard's fiscal irresponsibility. The financial challenges facing Dolton are severe, with some vendors reporting that they have not been paid for months of services already provided. This mounting sense of fiscal mismanagement has raised serious concerns about how a public official could be so reckless with taxpayer money, especially when the future of the town hangs in the balance as Henyard's leadership becomes increasingly disengaged from the needs of the community. Her focus seems to be more on defending herself against mounting criticism than addressing Dolton's pressing financial concerns. Her refusal to engage with the public's worries has only reinforced perception that she is more interested in protecting her position than resolving the town's problems. Public frustration continues to escalate as Henyard deflects responsibility, attacking political critics instead of acknowledging the discontent brewing among Dolton's residents. One of the most damaging revelations has been Henyard's extravagant spending habits. Reports surface that she spent an astonishing $443,000 on Amazon in a single day, using public funds for personal indulgences, such as shopping at stores like Walgreens and Wayfair. This scandal has diverted attention away from any potential positive achievements Henyard might have had, contributing to the growing sense of financial recklessness. Locals are understandably upset, especially given that Dolton is facing a $5 million budget deficit. The fact that their tax dollars were used on what many view as unnecessary and reckless personal purchases, rather than being invested in addressing the town's urgent needs, has only fueled anger and frustration as the town's financial situation worsens. Henyard's grip on power has visibly weakened, and public pressure is mounting, with many demanding accountability and increasingly calling for her resignation. Despite the growing chorus of criticism, Henyard remains steadfast in her refusal to step down, portrayed herself as a victim of political attacks. However, this defiance has only fueled further discontent as residents grow more concerned about her ability to lead effectively. Instead of focusing on the town's urgent issues, Henyard's leadership continues to be consumed by personal battles and scandals, leaving the future of Dolton hanging in the balance with the election fast approaching. It remains unclear whether Henyard can recover her political standing or whether Dolton will be forced to make a change at the top. As the town faces an uncertain future, one thing is evident. Henyard's leadership has sparked a deep divide, and the outcome of her re-election campaign will likely determine whether Dolton can begin to heal or whether it will be forced to move forward under new leadership. Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tenure has become increasingly defined by a cycle of defensive rhetoric, mounting personal and political scandals, and the steady erosion of public trust. As Dolton approaches a critical juncture, residents are grappling with a difficult decision, whether to demand a change in leadership or give Henyard one last chance. Her time in office has been fraught with contentious decisions, allegations of financial misconduct, and personal scandals, all which have significantly damaged her credibility. With the town's financial future at stake, Henyard's continued presence in office is only serving to further erode public confidence, and an alarming rate of pressure on Henyard has grown to an unsustainable level. The mounting issues under her leadership, from the fiscal crisis to the lack of accountability in her personal and professional actions, have become too glaring to ignore. Once firmly entrenched in power, Henyard's grip on her position is rapidly weakening. Her refusal to address the growing concerns of the public, combined with her combative stance, has made it increasingly clear that the town is at a crossroads. Dolton residents now find themselves uncertain about their future, questioning whether Henyard's continued leadership will stabilize the town, or if a change in direction is needed to restore order and trust as the town's financial health deteriorates. So too does Henyard's ability to govern effectively. The general fund balance has taken a drastic hit, plummeting from nearly $5 million in 2022 to just $3 million by May 2024, leaving Dolton with a staggering $6.5 million deficit. This sharp decline has sparked widespread indignation among locals, who now find themselves questioning how their town's finances could have been so poorly managed. Henyard's leadership has failed to take decisive action, and as a result, the town's financial collapse seems imminent. Despite the mounting evidence of her mismanagement, Henyard has consistently denied any wrongdoing. In a highly contentious 90-minute Facebook Live session, she dismissed the charges against her, framing them as part of a broader political power grab. She accused her critics of attempting to undermine her leadership with legal threats, but her combative demeanor and refusal to take responsibility for her actions have only deepened the public's frustration. Henyard's approach to crisis management, more focused on defending herself than addressing the town's pressing problems, has amplified skepticism about her ability to lead. Her failure to provide concrete solutions, along with her tendency to deflect blame, has alienated residents who are demanding transparency and accountability. Even when she hinted at starting a podcast to shed light on the situation, the idea failed to materialize, leaving the public with nothing but vague statements and a continued lack of transparency. Her refusal to engage openly with the residents has only fueled the belief that Henyard is more concerned with maintaining her power than with fixing the issues plaguing Dolton. The lack of accountability in Henyard's leadership is compounded by personal legal battles that have only further damaged her credibility. She and her partner, Kamal Woods, are currently facing eviction from their Dolton rental property due to unpaid rent. This personal legal issue has deepened the public's belief that Henyard is incapable of managing both her personal and professional responsibilities. Critics argue that her failure to address Dolton's worsening financial crisis, combined with her ongoing personal legal problems, paint a picture of a leader who is either unwilling or unable to take on the serious challenges facing the town. Henyard's inability to confront these pressing issues head-on is proving to be a significant hindrance to the town's recovery. As the town's financial situation continues to deteriorate, and as public trust in Henyard erodes, residents are increasingly questioning her ability to lead effectively. Many argue that the mayor's mismanagement of Dolton's resources has played a central role in the town's collapse, and there is growing frustration that she continues to deflect blame rather than offer real solutions. Despite this, Henyard remained steadfast and portrayed herself as a victim of political conspiracies, rather than accepting responsibility for her failures. This refusal to acknowledge her role in Dolton's decline has further alienated the public, making it even more unlikely that she can salvage her political career. Public dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership is compounded by the growing financial instability of the town. With a budget deficit ballooning to nearly $5 million, the financial crisis has become Dolton's most urgent issue. Many residents blame Henyard's financial mismanagement for the town's struggles, arguing that the mayor's failure to act decisively has contributed to the fiscal instability. The situation has reached a breaking point, with increased calls for Henyard's resignation. Yet, despite the growing chorus of voices demanding accountability, Henyard has continued to deflect blame. Instead accusing her political opponents of being behind the campaign to oust the situation is now at a critical juncture. The town's budget deficit is no longer a distant concern, but a stark reality that is causing widespread anxiety. As Henyard's grip on power weakens, the calls for her resignation grow louder. It seems increasingly unlikely that she will be able to recover from the mounting scandals, financial mismanagement, and lack of transparency that have plagued her administration. With Dolton's future hanging in the balance, many residents are left questioning whether Henyard is truly capable of leading the town out of its financial crisis, or if her time in office has come to an irrevocable end as the investigation into Henyard's alleged financial misconduct and embezzlement continues. The town is being forced to confront the possibility that its mayor has not only mismanaged its finances, but may have engaged in illegal activities. The scrutiny surrounding Henyard's leadership continues to grow, and many residents are wondering how much longer they can allow her to hold on to power. In addition to the financial issues, Henyard's legal troubles have only fueled the perception that she is not only unfit to lead, but also incapable of managing her affairs. Her ongoing battle with her landlord over unpaid rent, as well as other personal disputes, has cast a shadow over her professional credibility. The town is now on the verge of financial collapse, and Henyard's unwillingness to confront the issues head-on may be the final blow that seals her political demise. As the town's financial crisis continues to escalate, the demand for Henyard's resignation has reached a fever pitch. The people of Dolton are no longer content with vague reassurances or attempts to shift blame. They want accountability, and Henyard's failure to provide that has only deepened the sense of frustration and disillusionment with her leadership. The unfolding investigations into her actions, combined with the growing financial instability, have left Dolton at a crossroads. Residents are increasingly convinced that Henyard's leadership has brought the town to the brink of collapse. With each new revelation about her poor decisions and lack of accountability, the question of whether she can salvage her reputation or whether her political career is doomed seems increasingly unlikely as the town faces its most challenging financial crisis in years. The question now is whether Henyard can regain the public's trust and turn things around, or whether the damage done under her leadership will result in her political downfall. Dolton residents are left wondering if Henyard is truly a victim of political attacks, as she claims, or whether she is a primary cause of the unrest and instability that plagued the town. Her tenure has been mired by a series of financial missteps, personal scandals, and a failure to confront the challenges facing Dolton. The growing body of evidence against her, ranging from questionable financial decisions to ongoing personal legal issues, has left the town in turmoil. Residents are now questioning whether Henyard is capable of meeting the expectations placed upon her as mayor, or whether her leadership will be remembered as a failure. The longer she continues to deflect responsibility and avoid transparency, the more her position becomes untenable with each passing day. Henyard's credibility continues to deteriorate, and the political future of Dolton grows more uncertain. The town is at a critical juncture, and it remains to be seen whether Henyard can turn things around or whether Dolton will be left to rebuild after a period of mismanagement and failed leadership. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome of Henyard's leadership will determine whether Dolton can recover from the financial and political turmoil that has engulfed it, or whether it will face years of instability under her continued reign. In the end, the future of Dolton lies in the hands of its residents. Will they continue to endure the fallout of Henyard's leadership, or will they demand a change that can bring stability and restore the trust that has been lost? The answer to this question will shape the town's future for years to come. Thanks for watching Celeb News.